So what if I told you that Ofcom is monitoring VPN services as part of an Online Safety Act fallout? Well, it's exactly what's now happening in the UK. According to a TechRadar Exclusive published November the 10th, which is yesterday, Ofcom has confirmed that it is actively monitoring VPN usage across the UK as part of its enforcement of the Online Safety Act. And the details of how they're doing it are sketchy but revealing. Here's the TechRadar article. I'll put a link below. God, it's a lot of... Ironically, it's absolutely covered in VPN adverts, but hidden there is a exclusive. Ofcom is monitoring VPNs. It's quite a decent article, hidden behind all the adverts. And let's have a look at what it says, really. Well, background. Why are VPNs in the spotlight first? So basically, there are millions of people looking for ways around the new restrictions that the Online Safety Act is imposing. VPN use has indeed skyrocketed. In fact, TechRadar reported that by Ofcom's own estimates, the number of daily VPN users rose to about 1.5 million following the introduction of mandatory age checks on adult websites earlier this year. That surge clearly got Ofcom's attention. The UK's Online Safety Act has already reshaped how websites handle age checks directed at so-called harmful content. Everything from social media to adult sites. It's becoming quite expansive, and it seems to change subtly every few weeks. So how is Ofcom monitoring VPNs? So how is a regulator like Ofcom tracking VPN usage without actually invading people's privacy? Well, the TechRadar report, Ofcom gave them a quote. "We use a leading third-party provider, which is widely used in the industry, to gather information on VPN usage. The provider combines multiple data sources to train its models and generate usage estimates." Oops. They added that the data we access and use in our analysis is fully aggregated at the app level and no personally identifiable or user level information is ever included. End quote. So in plain English, Ofcom is saying that it's not watching you directly. They're just buying access to aggregated data. Things like VPN app downloads, sessions, and overall trends. But there is a catch here, and it's actually quite a big catch. They're refusing to name the company providing the data, so we don't get an idea of what this data actually is. So there's a mystery vendor here somewhere, and a distinct lack of transparency because Ofcom are keeping them secret. Now, obviously the other provider is unknown. There's a few people with some ideas, and I'll go into those in another video when I've done a bit more research because I'm not sure yet. But TechRadar says Ofcom uses a leading third-party provider, but the regulators decline to identify it. So no one really outside Ofcom knows what data sources are being combined and how accurate the model is, or whether there is actually a risk to identifying or re-identifying users. The re-identification risk, the article puts it quite bluntly, while identifiable information may be excluded from the data that Ofcom analyses, there's nothing that suggests the data is not at risk of re-identification, so you can put these two together again. There's alarm bells ringing here, and most importantly, as TechRadar pointed out, the fact that a regulator is using tools to specifically track the public's use of software designed to enhance digital privacy is likely to ring alarm bells. So why is Ofcom doing this? What's the goal here? They say that it helps them understand how users might be bypassing the new age verification systems that the Online Safety Act requires for certain types of content. I don't know how much monitoring this needs because it's very obvious to everybody that why they're using it and how they're getting bypassed it. They're just simply changing their IP address so you don't get caught in the age verification processes. You don't need to be a tech expert to know this. It's widely known. But from their perspective, if under 18s are simply using VPNs, which they are, to get around these checks, the entire regulatory system could fail, which it will, and people will be subject to it if they want to be subject to it. I have got a caveat there that the VPN system doesn't work as well on when you've got dedicated hardware or closed systems like games consoles and stuff, because they've got so many other ways of determining your location. But things from adult websites and just normal websites, they work perfectly and they bypass them all. Privacy campaigners argue that monitoring VPN usage at all undermines the principle of online privacy and anonymity, which is the very things the VPNs are there to protect. Another subheading in TechRadar said, ignoring VPN risks creates ineffective laws, but tracking them threatens people's privacy, which is like what it is in a nutshell, really. The laws don't work with a VPN, but we need VPNs to keep our data private and safe and secure. So the wider concerns and reactions, understandably, lots of civil liberties groups, including the Open Rights Group, say this sets a dangerous precedent. VPNs are completely legal in the UK. They're used by businesses, companies, journalists, and privacy-conscious users alike. I've been using mine for probably about 17 years now. So while Ofcom insists the data is aggregated, the idea of any government regulator monitoring these privacy tools, even indirectly, is obviously quite controversial. It also raises questions about whether this data aggregation model could be expanded to other privacy tools in future, like encrypted messages or proxy services. We've already seen in Europe they're looking at scanning encrypted messages and emails and such like, and it's obviously being blocked by the Germans at the moment, but it's definitely there. So final thoughts, takeaway. Now I'm going to go into this in a bit more detail, but I'm trying to keep my videos shorter. So VPNs are a tool for privacy, and let's be clear, at the moment, apart from Ofcom not telling us who it is, we haven't got any evidence that they're directly breaking into your VPN or decrypting your traffic. There's no evidence for that at all. Ofcom's tracking of VPN usage does highlight the Online Safety Act's growing reach into digital privacy, though, and again, the data vendor being unnamed is a worry. So who watches the watchers? Ofcom are watching us. Who's watching Ofcom? What are they doing? What control is them? Regulators are monitoring the very tools that protect our privacy and anonymity in the UK when we're online. And it raises a crucial question, who is watching them? So, if you've enjoyed this video or you're interested in the subject, support the channel, subscribe, like. Subscribe's the best, really, and we'll try and keep you up to date in this issue and find out what's going on. It's changing all the time. It's really, you have to keep your eye on the ball on this one. Join the conversation. Is Ofcom's VPN monitoring a safeguard or an overreach? What do you think? Put your thoughts in the comments there. We're already always happy to hear them. So stay private online. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.